Gut health is a huge term, and it means different things to different folks. And I think from a perspective of managing in a drug-free environment or raised without antibiotics, I like to separate it into two components. So we talk about the microbiota, the bacterial flora of the gastrointestinal tract, and then those predisposing factors that will influence the microflora. And I would put coccidiosis control into that category. So those are the two legs that one has to work with in a truly drug-free, antibiotic-free program. In terms of managing the bacterial flora, my approach is to take a sort of a HACCP product or chain of events that occurs and say at what point do we have critical control points and what are the risks involved. And I think it's important to realize that in our production system, like Dr. Stuart Brown emphasized, what comes down from the parent flocks is really the starting point of the meat birds. So the management program, if you're going to manage microbiota, really needs to begin up the chain. And we've realized this with the control of pathogens, and Salmonella would be a great example. We just haven't applied the same type of concepts to the positive flora. So for me, the first thing is seeding the gastrointestinal tract with the correct type of flora. We have a lot of processes in raising laying birds or broiler producers that make handling the gastrointestinal tract and the flora very difficult. We hand that down to the offspring, and so the offspring start on a bad footing. So seeding the gut down with the correct flora is, to me, the most important starting point. It can start at the breeder flock, or it can start at the hatchery. Unfortunately, now you're asking a very small seed stock to compete with a huge amount of organisms in the environment, the house environment, particularly if you're on a deep litter system, for example, in the US, where you're placing birds on reused litter. So you have to nurture those organisms and get them to compete or outcompete or create the right environment for the evolution of a bacterial flora that's suitable. So we seed down the flora, and we nurture or feed those flora so that they can then become competitive in the gastrointestinal tract. And then, like any agriculture, if you plant seeds and you apply fertilizer, you're going to be inundated with weeds. And whereas in the past we've used antibiotics to control the weed component, the prebiotic has a very strong role in suppressing those unfavorable organisms from competing against the favorables. So that little strategy helps very well in terms of managing the bacterial flora.